And the London Organizing Committee of the Olympic Games has still not done the right thing. It has still not dropped Dow's sponsorship of the Olympic Games. Now, of course, at this point, there's a lot of money at stake and there's a lot of corporate interest at stake. And the organizers have been staunchly defending Dow's sponsorship of the Olympic Games, saying that they were not around at the time that the disaster happened and therefore they have no responsibility, which is exactly the line that they've been perpetuating for all these past years, which of course we don't buy. We all know that when you acquire a company's assets, you also acquire its liabilities, and that's exactly what happened in the case of Dow's acquisition of Union Carbide in 2001. Now, we're not alone in doing this. This action is also a solidarity action with people in London, people in Bhopal, people in Canada, and people all over the world who care. And even if we don't get Dow out of the Olympics this time around, they're still associated with the Olympics for the next 4 Olympic cycles. And we need to make sure that next Olympic Games, there's no Dow involved at all, and that we get as close as we can to getting them to compensate the survivors, getting them to clean up the site, and getting them to take responsibility. It's not going to make a difference just for this particular case. It's going to make a difference for all similar cases around the world. There's quite a lot of corporate crimes all around the world, and we need to create a precedent of corporate accountability. So this case in Bhopal is very symbolic, and it's a great time to bring it into focus because of the Olympic Games. So thank you all for coming, and let's keep up the Olympic spirit as well as the Bhopal spirit.
Well, I just hope Dow someday wakes up from its stupor and does the right thing. Whatever happens in the Olympics, I know for one thing that Dow's not winning.
This is the 28th year of the disaster, and still compensation has not been provided to
You want to talk to these guys in the car?
the people who suffered the biggest disaster in the history of humanity.
The guys in the car?
Us living in Boston, so far away from Bhopal, showing our solidarity, and people in Canada and England all coming together and voicing their grievance and actually a frustration with the issue are a proof that this fight is not over yet. Anytime Dow plans to make big plans for, I don't know, destroying other site, we're gonna be there. We're gonna keep fighting, no matter if it takes another 27 years. So, Jai Bhopal and fuck you, Dow.
I think we are gathered here not just to protest against Dow's sponsorship of the Summer Olympics in London a month away from today, but also to salute the spirits of the people in Bhopal who have been living in the contaminated site in spite of all adversities stacked against them, in spite of the government's reluctance of both the United States and India to hold Dow accountable for the crimes that committed on the night of 3rd December 1984. But the people of Bhopal strive through all these adversities against the poisoned water, poisoned soil, poisoned air, against injustices. These are people who are weakened by the effects of the chemical, and yet there isn't one power in the world besides the power of the people who are standing next to these survivors of Bhopal. So today we are gathering here, trying our best to hold Dow accountable for the crimes it has created in the past, and also to uncover the greenwashing that Dow is doing in April, so that it can wipe off the blemishes without any accountability. And over and above everything, I think we stand here to salute the strength of the people of Bhopal.
Dow's constant refusal to pay up and to compensate the victims of Bhopal adequately gives every corporate in the world the security that they can take advantage of certain classes of people and get away with it. I think it's not just for Bhopal, for the sake of all humanity, that Dow should be made accountable and should pay.
I think the Olympics to be tainted, like such an event like the Olympics, which represent both hope and spirit and coming together of humanity, and to be tainted by the sponsorship of a company such as Dow is both a shame and something that the organizers obviously did not take into consideration. It again calls for how it's irresponsible profit, irresponsible actions of corporations, and if not this time around, I think all of us here and different parts of the world, we sincerely hope that going forward we can have more corporate accountability and have more responsibility in events such as these.
When we're talking about Bhopal, we also need to talk about how the Indian state is culpable in allowing Dow, first Union Carbide and then as Dow, to get away with the crime they committed in Bhopal and all the lives and destruction that they're responsible for in Bhopal. And like so many people have pointed out, it's not just about Dow, it's not just about Bhopal, it's about our economic and social policy. What kind of rights are we giving to the corporates? What kind of rights over resources are we giving to the corporates? And how much we are trying to deny the responsibility of the corporate. And we have the Indian state has totally institutionalized this right of corporates to destroy lives, to destroy an entire economy, and to loot all the resources of the people in India. And it's also trying to deny this entire history of a certain kind of development paradigm, an economic paradigm in India. And that is, I think, our biggest responsibility, that this generation and the next generations do not forget what happened in Bhopal and how the Indian state behaved, how corporates in general tend to behave, and how certain classes, it's also a class conflict because there is a difference between the classes in India which are okay with Dow getting away with this, which even today shout that Dow is not liable, and the classes of people who are actually living with what Dow did in Bhopal. And so it's our responsibility to make sure that the next generations do not forget what happened.
Yeah, I completely agree with everyone, whatever they said. I think it's important, and Bhopal itself was a huge tragedy, but it's also Bhopal has become something bigger. And as corporations becoming stronger and stronger in our daily life, it is very important to keep this thing in mind that a corporation cannot just kill and get away with it. They have to be made accountable. For that, people like us, we need to be watchful of what these corporations are doing, what's happening on the ground with people's lives, with these economic policies and investment that's supposed to benefit a society, benefit people, but end up killing them, and not just for that generation, but generations after that continue to suffer while they make profits and while they advertise about how wonderful the corporations they are, but while millions of people continue to suffer. So they need to be made accountable for this.
So, no, I just want to add, I feel really honoured to be part of this group, supporting such an inspiring cause. And I think, above all, it's just important to raise awareness of the terrible misdeeds of Dow, and to really impress upon Dow and other corporates, as people have mentioned, that they have responsibility towards human beings, and to have treated human beings in Bhopal the way they did is simply unacceptable. We need to hold them liable, we need to bring them to account for that. And yes, I hope we can continue raising awareness in the future so there are no more Bhopals.
Okay, so to finish, let's do a